You're gonna be sorry. You better be sorry.
Prisma has been asked to do St. Matthew Passion with symphony in April, so
Cool. Oh, I'd love
if you'd be
to see that.
interested.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I'll probably send an email. I would love for us to be kind of my core for that.
Sure.
Scott, of course, some great folks that'll join us, and I'll probably open.
The two-person soprano section again.
Probably a little bit bigger. St. Matthew Passion, Lory. Think about it. With the symphony.
Way back.
It's homecoming, actually. It's really busy time, but I said yes, because it's St. Matthew Passion. And if we can do it, kind of start in the next couple of months, that way get it more designed.
Slide through. I'm moving my foot, so
That way we're not, that way we feel good and we're not feeling like we have to learn it
Yeah.
in the middle of the crazy event.
Right. Sounds great.
At least that's my. And I've got Dan. He has offered to play for free. So that's nice.
Bach, find you singing, not so much to me. Bach was kind to singers.
The St. Matthew Passion stuff is actually, most of the choruses are like,
Yeah, he is.
Bach is nice. He's a nice guy.
No, he's not.
What is that one thing in the
but Anna Reed's in the stage.
in the Brahms record? There's this part where he could have been really mean and made this but he took us down. It was nice.
But then you get to that fugue, and all you do is sing F, G, F, G, F, G,
Before I
F,
Well,
G.
they're doing what is the How Lovely Is Thy Dwelling Place? We're doing that in 2 Sundays at church, and it's a screamer.
I love that one. But he was
How
not
Lovely
nice.
Is Thy Dwelling Place? It keeps the sopranos like hanging out on high G for about a million years.
Please promise me. Let's not do the Requiem. We get into that fugue, and I want to kill myself.
Which one? Oh, I want to sing the Brahms Requiem so bad. They would what? They
I
quit?
mean,
I did like 3 years of art stuff, and I could just see the face.
well, some of them,
Well, I'm ready to learn some new stuff. We've been doing a lot of repetition at St. Mark's. I want a challenge. I like hard stuff. I'm a Rejoice in the Lamb kind of a. Let's see how hard we can really make it. Kind of a. Just for the intellectual part, not necessarily hard to sing.
This one is on. Good gentif, everybody. I think we have figured out everything we need to do now that we have finally gotten to towards the end of the day. We have finally figured out things about microphones. Can you hear me? You see? I think we figured this all out finally. You what? You want it louder? I can talk louder. I can put this, you know what? It's probably not near my mouth. This is a bendy thing. Is that better? See? We figured out those things, and now we just have to do the mechanics. It comes off my ear and whatever. So welcome to the afternoon service. This is another important service. We will have Torah reading and all kinds of things. I don't know if I want to embarrass myself to say, you know, for many years we had a section of the service where many congregants came up and read. And we had something like 10 different parts to divvy up to the congregants. I eliminated that section of the service, so I'm going to warn you now. I didn't eliminate it, I condensed it, and I read it for you now instead of having a lot of people read it. It felt to me the first few years that the only people who were coming to services were the ones who were the readers. So I'm looking out now and I'm realizing that many of you are people I've given honors to, but not everyone, and I appreciate that. This is an important service. We put a lot of energy into prepping for this, and I appreciate you being here. There is a belief in Judaism, in the Talmud, that said that Yom Kippur contains within itself the entire year. Every hour represents many days. Every minute comprises many hours. Thus, one who repents sincerely on Yom Kippur may be considered as having repented for the entire year. We begin our service. I've got a little note here that says I'm supposed to go to yellow tab C, which is on page 386 this year. What? No, not in my book. My book says we have to start with this intro on page 385 or 386, and I think this year I decided 386. It's a responsive reading. These are from the meditations section, and we miss them. Some of them are some of them are really inspiring, and I try to pull some of them for you. One of the things that makes it difficult to write sermons is that I try to do inspirational things specifically about the theme of the holiday if I can, but there's so much in this book, and it says eloquently many of the things that I'm trying to say. So I struggle and come up with something, and then I find it exactly word for word how I would have wanted to say it. Page 386, we read responsively, "How does one find the eternal God? In heaven and earth, in a clap of thunder, in a whisper of the soul, in praise on yellowed parchment in an ancient tongue, in yearning of the heart, in a child not yet born. Blessed is the one who is. Bless the Eternal One, O my soul. When we see a pleasing sculpture, we say, blessed is the one who shaped it. The world is pleasing. Blessed the presence that shaped it. Blessed the one who fashioned it with a word. Taste of tears and wine, sight of starry skies, old men's voices warping the chant, children singing, scientists asking, artists proclaiming, blessed the one who will be. Even for the sake of one righteous person, the world would have been created, and one good man, one good woman can keep the world from perishing. The righteous is the foundation of the world. All the web of creation shining in God's bright sunlight, the dew that is gathered in darkness transfixes the light of the day. Blessed is the one who is and will be. We continue on page 394. Thank you for taking that little trek with me. I like that one. At this hour, Israel stands before its God. In our prayers, in our hope, we are one with all Jews on earth. This people you have formed still lives to tell your praise. Today we say to our children, see this sublime design which was revealed at the very beginning and from which age to age is realized. See this people, few in number, to the world unknown, declaring at the beginning of its history what will be its history. See this people choose the mission which chooses it in the way it has foretold. See this people. This people you have formed still lives to tell your praise. To our friends we say, see this people, exiled twice and twice surviving, teaching in its first exile the unity of God, and in its second, the oneness of humanity. Know this people. This people, Israel, lives to tell God's praise, men's hopes, women's dreams. Congregation Israel, can you not see an eternal presence abiding with your people? Can you not see in your past a story told for all peoples, whose shining conclusion has yet to unfold? This people lives when it lives God's praise. At this hour, Israel stands before its God. In our prayers, in our hope, we are one with all Jews on earth. We look into each other's faces, and we know who we are. We look up to our God, and we know eternity is in us. We look into each other's faces, and we know who we are. We look up to our God, and we know eternity is in us. O sovereign source of salvation, you show mercy to thousands of generations, forgiving transgression and wrongdoing. Forgive my sins, God. In your abundant mercy, be gracious to me. All this day, you are the one we call upon. All this day, we look to you. Heal our wounds. Forgive our failings. We come to you in penitence. In your steadfast love, be gracious to us as we strive to abandon our evil ways. All this day, God, be with us. This day, let your power grow within us, God. And as parents show compassion for their children, so may you put wrath aside, turning to us in pity and love. All this day, God, be with us as in days gone by. This day, blot out our misdeeds and inscribe us in the book of life. Stand not apart from us, O God, for you are near to all who call upon you. Forgiveness and pardon are laws of your being. To this day, God, you have granted pardon to your people Israel. On this day, we lift up our hearts to you and proclaim your might. With song and praise we approach you. We confess and forsake our sins, as in prayer we seek forgiveness. This day and all days, we find you at our side. This day, your people knock at your door. To you their yearning souls aspire, and upon you do they lean. Stretch forth your hand and welcome them with your redeeming word. Vatem hadvekim b'Adonai Elohechem, chayim kolchem hayom. You who hold fast to Adonai your God have found life, all of you, this day. We rise for the tefillah. The transliteration begins on page 538 for those who need it. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. God of the past and the future, God of this day, God of Israel and all the world, we know you, yet cannot name you. With our halting human speech we say, God, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, God of Sarah and Rebekah, God of Rachel and Leah, God of freedom and justice and mercy, God of understanding. You are the rule by which we measure ourselves. You are the voice we hear within us. You are the majestic one who delights in life. Inscribe us for blessing in the book of life. Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham. We read the English responsively. We pray that we might know before whom we stand, the power whose gift is life, who quickens those who have forgotten how to live.
We pray for winds to disperse the choking air of sadness, for cleansing rains to make parched hopes flower, and to give all of us the strength to rise up toward the sun.
We pray for love to encompass us for no other reason save that we are human, that we may all blossom into persons who have gained power over our own lives.
We pray to stand upright, be fallen, to be healed. Sufferers, we pray to break the bonds that keep us from the world of beauty. We pray for opened eyes. We who are blind to our authentic selves.
We pray that we may walk in the garden of a purposeful life, our own powers in touch with the power of the world.
Praise be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing rains let parched men and women flower towards the sun.
God of holiness, let your glory be with us always, as a holy light illuminating for us the paths of righteousness. For you are holy, your name is holy, and those to strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Blessed is the Eternal, who rules in holiness. Now all acclaim you King, the God who sits in judgment. You search the heart on judgment day. You uncover its depths in judgment. You command us to righteousness on judgment day. You know our inmost thought in judgment. Your love is steadfast on judgment day. You keep your covenant in judgment. You show compassion to your creatures on judgment day. You purify those who trust you in judgment. You see through our masks on judgment day, but you cool your wrath in judgment. You are arrayed in justice on judgment day, yet you pardon rebellion in judgment. Your splendor is awesome on judgment day. You pardon the wayward in judgment. You answer all who call upon you on judgment day. You act with compassion in judgment. You penetrate all mysteries on judgment day. You free your children in judgment. You are merciful to your people on judgment day. You preserve those who love you in judgment. You uphold all who live with integrity on judgment day. Let now an infinite presence teach us a gentleness that transcends force and melts our hardness of heart. Then shall we be sensitive to the needs of our neighbors and responsive to their pleas. All who struggle vainly for attention and those who shrink from another's touch, all whose faces we forget from one encounter to the next, and those who never seem to find a resting place in the family of the secure, all whose ambition exceeds their skill, and those whose early promise has dimmed to small achievement, and all whose minds are clouded or weak, and those who are burdened with broken bodies, all who wait in pain only for death, and those who wait for news that never comes, those who are unloved with none to love, all widows and widowers, abandoned husbands and wives, neglected children, all who are deprived by the callousness of others, and all who have been driven from the homes by wars they never made. To all these, O God, may we respond with open hearts. We are going to turn to page 444, and I am going to give you the synopsis of what we just skipped. Our history spans millennia and is filled with suffering and joy. We acknowledge that God created us and told us to take care of the land. We remember slavery and freedom. We remember deliverance and revelation. We remember oppression and exile. We remember persecution and suffering and death camps. We remember how we returned to Israel, the promised land. We worked and made the desert bloom. We restored the land, and it restored us. We value being free to worship and live our lives here where we are. We cherish that we can remember. We continue at the bottom of page 444. Jerusalem is the joy of all the world, but the whole earth is yours, God, and all who dwell there are your children. Wherever we seek you, we may find you. Wherever we ponder your teachings, Torah makes its home. Wherever we do justly and love mercy, your presence abides. In the four corners of earth, we, your people, are called to witness, to the light of the eternal, to a teaching of compassion, to the vision of redemption. It is too small a task for you to be my servant, merely to preserve the tribes of Jacob and to restore the survivors of Israel. I will make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. Sing, O heavens, exult, O earth, break out in song, you hills. O God, you have comforted our people and shown compassion for the afflicted. Today, let us remember the earth's oppressed. Let us restore their human heritage to the victims of torture, the weak and the weary, all who are imprisoned without cause. Let us remember them. Bring peace to every home and comfort to every heart. We know the wisdom by which you would have us live. Oceans of ink have been spilled to say it. Be faithful, be true, love one another as you love yourselves. But the world is dark, God, and cold with fear and rage. The hammer of chaos beats loudly within our breasts. How can we endure? This is a vision of a great and noble life, to endure ambiguity and to make light shine through it, to stand fast in uncertainty, to prove capable of unlimited love and hope. God, today we turn to you, uncertainly proclaiming your glory with scarce remembered words of a half-forgotten faith. We've confessed our sins and promised to forsake them. Oh, find us as we grope for you in our darkness. God, pardon us as we knock upon your door, for as it has been said, and the gates of repentance are never barred, and it has been taught, we know our sin is pardoned when we no longer commit it. God, make us whole. Make us one with our own hearts. Make us one with each other, at last to find ourselves at one with you, our friend, our helper, and our joy. Use us, God, to speed the day of reconciliation when poverty, racial prejudice, and religious hatred no longer threaten to destroy us. When violence, angry conflict, and mistrust are forgotten evils. When our wealth is used to feed the hungry and heal the sick. When we cherish the world and hold it in trust for our children's children. When the weak become strong and the strong compassionate, and that which has been commanded shall come to pass. Let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Our God and God of our ancestors, may you rule in glory over all the earth, and let your grandeur be acclaimed throughout the world. Reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth, that all your works may know you as their maker, and all the living acknowledge you as their creator. Then all who breathe shall say, the eternal God of Israel is the King whose dominion extends to all creation. We continue on page 448, and the choir will sing All the World. No? Yes?
We will.
It wasn't in there? Sorry. We have a different cue?
We have a. We can keep going.
Was I supposed to? What?
We jumped from here to here. All the world shall come to serve you and bless your glorious name, and your righteousness triumphant the islands shall proclaim, and the peoples shall go seeking who knew you not before, and the ends of earth shall praise you and tell your greatness o'er. They shall build for you their altars, their idols overthrown, and their graven gods shall shame them as they turn to you alone. They shall worship you at sunrise and feel your kingdom's might, and impart their understanding to those astray at night. With the coming of your kingdom, the hills shall shout with song, and the islands laugh exultant that they to God belong. And through all your congregations, so loud your praise shall ring, that the utmost peoples hearing shall hail you crowned King. All right, so that's only the third cue that I know that I missed already today. It may get worse from here. So before we do the Torah portion today, the Torah portion is about holiness. You may or may not remember that I told you how stressed I was before Rosh Hashanah, trying to find words that will inspire you. I just talked about it again.
I don't remember if I said this out loud, but I have notes. All year long, I gather notes. And one of the notes, one of the top ones that I read months and months ago, and I said, oh, this would be a great Yom Kippur story, great High Holy Day story. It said, the bookstore lady. That's what my note said. I have no idea where I had read it. I had no idea where I found it. I read a billion things. It didn't say anything. There's another one that says, Sheles Choilim, which is a dream question, page 256. I have looked in every book I can imagine. No idea. But I found, so I'm pretty good at Googling, and I Googled the bookstore lady, and apparently some lady this year went gaga cuckoo in a bookstore, and pages are of some kind of description of what happened. I can't find the bookstore lady. But I found it. I wasn't as bad at taking notes as I thought I was by Rosh Hashanah. Things calmed down a lot. It's a sweet story that I want to share with you because I think in many ways it touches upon all of the themes that we have dealt with so far. Plus, I think that it's a good introduction to a Torah portion that talks about what it means to be holy in real life. So this was posted by a woman, I think her name is pronounced Christine Turrell, Turel, and she said, I work in a decent-sized local indie bookstore. It's a great job 99% of the time, and a lot of our customers are pretty neat people who, middle of the day, she says, sorry. Middle of the day, this little old lady comes up. She's lovably kooky. She effuses how much she loves the store and how she wishes she could spend more time in it. But her husband is waiting in the car. Oh, I better buy him some redacted. She piles a bunch of art supplies on the counter, then stops and tells me how my bangs are beautiful and remind her of the ocean. Whoosh, she says, making a wave gesture with her hand. Oh, I think to myself, awesomely happy, weird little old ladies are my favorite kind of customer. They're thrilled about everything and they're comfortably bananas. I can have a good time with this one. So we chat, and it's nice. Then this kid, who's been up in my counter a few times to gather his school textbook, comes up in line behind her. We're connected to a major university in the city, so we have a lot of harried students pass through. She turns to him and out of nowhere demands that he puts the textbooks on the counter. He's confused, but she explains she's going to buy his textbooks. He goes sheetrock white. He refuses and adamantly insists she can't do that. It's like $400 worth of textbooks. She, this tiny old woman, boldly takes them out of his hands, throws them on the counter, and turns to me with an intense stare and tells me to put them on her bill. The kid at this point is practically in tears. He's confused and shocked and grateful. Then she turns to him and says, "You need chocolate." Redacted. She starts grabbing handfuls of redacted and putting them in her pile. He keeps asking her, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And she responds, "Do you like Harry Potter?" And she throws a copy of the new book on in the pile too. Finally, she's done, and I ring her up for a crazy amount of money. She pays and asks me to please give the kid a few bags for his stuff. While I'm bagging up her merchandise, the kid hugs her. We're both telling her how amazing she is and what an awesome thing she's done. She turns to both of us and says probably one of the most profound, unscripted things I've ever had someone say. It's important to be kind. You can't know all the times that you've hurt people in tiny, significant ways. It's easy to be cruel without meaning to be. There's nothing you can do about that. But you can choose to be kind. Be kind. The kid thanks her again and leaves. I tell her again how awesome she is. She's starting out the door after him and says to me, my son is a homeless meth addict. I don't know what I did. I see that boy, and I see the man my son could have been if someone had chosen to be kind to him at just the right time. I've bagged up all her stuff, and at this point I'm super awkward and feel like I should say something, but I don't know what. And she turns to me and she said, "I wish I could have bangs like that, but my darn hair is just too curly." And she leaves. And that's the story of the best customer I've ever had. Be kind to somebody today. And so the woman writing the post then said, "You never know how your actions may affect others around you, so you might as well be kind to all." Or as I found the Dalai Lama said, Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. I love that story. I stuck that one into the middle of every one of my sermons, and I said, nope, I'm going to give that to my afternoon service people. You deserve that story. I love that story. I just thought it was sweet and heartbreaking, and it changes who you are and how you interact with people by hearing that. So the Torah portion, as I say, is about being holy and making choices. Before we continue, I missed somebody's honor altogether. I hope I don't miss anybody's honors. You see what my book looks like? I have tabs and scribbles all over the place. The tabs tell me who's supposed to come up when, and it tells me all these things. And somehow, even with that, I missed. There was a part where I missed and didn't let you sit down when you were supposed to sit down, I was told. Except there's one spot where I had to cross off where it says sit down, and I don't know which one it was. And I apologize. The people who have honors, by the way, are people who are on the board, past presidents, people who are here all the time volunteering, people who are new congregants, people who have recently become bar bat mitzvah or confirmed, people who teach in our school, people who are new Jews, people who are new members. This year we have people who are almost members. People who have applied but we haven't had a board meeting yet. And one of those people I'm going to announce now is going to help read the Torah. Before we get there, I'm going to say, how many people can you say in Shreveport, a week before Yom Kippur, she says, is there anything I could do to help? Like, we're moving furniture, we're doing stuff. And I said, yeah, you want to read Torah? Because I know that when she was young, she went to yeshiva. It's some years ago, not many, some years ago. And she said yes, a week ago. So she's helping read Torah today, and I love it. And you will be able to tell that she's originally from France when you hear how she reads, because it's going to sound like she's reading the Torah in French. French Hebrew. It's magnificent. I love listening to her. You know that when I read that last Torah portion, all I heard was Shirley's voice in my head. It's really hard not to hear Shirley's voice. It gets me through it, too. It was never not have Shirley's voice in my head. Even though Austin did it, too. I still hear Shirley's voice in my head with it. So I am calling up my ark openers, and we are on page 450. And right now, only the ark openers come up. When we march with the Torah, Michael, I think you're not up yet. I think yours is later. I think you're for the Elenu. I'll tell you when. We had that happen. I'm sorry about it. I apparently have given some strange cues. So,
I have the Elenu was beforehand.
What?
I have the Elenu before the Torah service.
Really? What page? It shouldn't be.
409.
Wow, did I skip all that? Okay, hold on, everybody. You want to sit for a second? We may have to do parts of. So I have this big clip in here, and I obviously clipped stuff that I really shouldn't have clipped, because I don't want to mess people's.
We jumped from 404 to 468.
Yeah, I wanted to. Okay, no, I don't. Let's go back. I'm glad I told you the story, because now you have to be kind to me. I think we're not going to skip all of those things. We are going to do page 404. Yeah, this is the worst Yom Kippur ever, Rabbi.
No.
We're getting closer to the end, and then you make me go back to the beginning. Worst Yom Kippur ever. I have a lot to apologize for. I was doing so well, I thought I was going to have nothing to apologize for this Yom Kippur. Now I've got a stack of things. I'm sorry. Page 404. And if you want, you can read this Hebrew with me. The Hebrew is the exact same 4 words everywhere. It says, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. That's your part if you want it. So we begin with, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We have sinned against life by failing to work for peace. We have sinned against life by keeping silent in the face of injustice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We have sinned against life by ignoring those who suffer in distant lands.
We have sinned against life by forgetting the poor in our own midst.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We have failed to respect those made in the image of God.
We have withheld our love from those who depend on us.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We have engaged in gossip and in repeated slander.
We have distorted the truth for our own advantage.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. We have conformed to fashion and not to conscience.
We have indulged in despair and trafficked with cynics.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have given meager support to our houses of study.
We have neglected our heritage of learning.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we have sinned against ourselves and paid scant heed to the life of the Spirit.
We have sinned against ourselves and have not risen to fulfill the best that is in us.
Ve'al chet shechatanu, no, ve'al kulam, Eloah, slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these sins, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. God, before whom words must be true, we acknowledge our faults and our failings. Help us now to strengthen the good impulse within us. Help us to care about wrongs from which we have been spared, to seek forgiveness for the wrongs we shall do, to forgive the wrongs that are done to us. Create in us a clean heart and place a willing spirit within us. Shed your light upon us, O God, that we may see the goodness in each of your children. Our God, and God of our ancestors, sanctify us with your mitzvot. Let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. For you alone are the one who pardons and forgives us in every generation. We have no God but you. Blessed is Adonai, whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses year after year. Sovereign of the world, you hallow the house of Israel.
In the day of atonement.
Let me hear you, God, when I hear my spirit soaring in prayer. May I sing because I love, not afraid to waste my sweetness upon the void, but reflecting in my soul's flight the universal God, the universal God, the universal God, who sings through me. O God of Israel's past, God of this day, God of all flesh, creator of all life, we praise you, the Most High, for the gift of life. We give thanks, O source of good, that life endures. Eternal and infinite God, help us to use our life for blessing, to live by your law, to do your will, to walk in your way with a whole heart. We praise you, eternal God, for the blessing of life. O source of peace, lead us to peace, a peace profound and true. Lead us to a healing, to mastery of all that drives us to war within ourselves and with others. May our deeds inscribe us in the book of life and blessing, righteousness and peace. O source of peace, bless us with peace.
Barecheno Avinu, Kolano Kechai Beor Panecha, Ki Beor Panecha, Natata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat Chaim Ve'ahavat Chesed, Utzedaka Uvracha Verachamim Ve'chaim Ve'shalom. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל ואת כל העמים בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Adonai Baruch Shemo
Take a moment of silent prayer at the top of 408 or whatever is in your heart. this point in our service, our prayers and our hearts go to those who are ill or recuperating. Please call out names for people for whom you'd like us to be praying. Okay. For all these names, for the names we choose to hold in our hearts, I pray, we are grateful, O God, for the gift of life and for the healing powers that you have implanted within your creatures. Sustain the loved ones we hold in our hearts through these days of illness with the courage and fortitude they need to endure weakness and pain. Help us to find ways to show our love and concern for them so that we may be an influence for good in their time of need. And may all who suffer illness of body or mind know that you are with them, giving them strength of spirit as they struggle to recover. May their afflictions soon be ended, and may they return in health to family and friends. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing, and we will say again, El, Na, Refa, Na, Lahem, God. Please heal, please them. We add, Misheberach Avotenu V'Imotenu. May the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom and protecting us in this country and the land of Israel and everywhere they've been called to serve. Give them courage to succeed and strength to persevere. May they return home safely, and let us say, Amen. Okay, my book says sermon, so if you came in late, you missed my sermon. My book also says announcements, but I think we know what we're doing. Is that okay? We good? Yeah. If you're staying 3:30-ish is the memorial, then it's concluding, but you're going to be here anyway. You know we have to go to that redacted stuff all next week. Please come, because we're hungry. You want to do it. So please come. You're going to get another notice at the end of the week anyway, but the deadline for the reservations for next week's redacted is Friday. So please do that. Meanwhile, I am now going to call up the people who tried to come up, which is not the ladies. These are the guys for the Aleinu on page 409 to open the Ark for the Aleinu. Now, you're opening for the Torah service. This is the Aleinu. I just messed up. I have so much to ask forgiveness for. My list just keeps getting longer instead of shorter as the day goes on. I am sorry. We'll make this serious. Please rise when the Ark is open. We are on page 409. I love seeing those Torahs. We read together in English, "Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. We therefore bow in awe and reverence before the one who is sovereign over all, the holy and blessed one." In truth, God alone is our sovereign, as it is written, "Know then this day and take it to heart. Adonai is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else." When the ark is closed, you may be seated. Now we skip and skip and skip and skip, and we're about to close down. We're on page 450. I just loved when Adam said, "If you want us to sing that, we'll sing that." Here's what he says right here. My paper clip went to way too many pages. Sorry about that. At least you guys, following my things, and then I made good on it, and everybody got that part of the honors.
We went back and said Ve'al Kulam. It's good.
Ve'al Kulam, on all of my sins. I'm working on it. I'm really working on it. So all of the lovely things I said about the Torah service, just take that again. We're about to do one of, I think, one of my favorite lines from the Torah comes from this Torah portion about choosing life. I love the fact that in Judaism, we are commanded to be holy. Y'all be holy, not as individuals, as a people, but I take it personally too. And then that we get the choice. In Judaism, everything is about choice. And I love that about being Jewish. I love that Yom Kippur gives me an opportunity to focus on the times when I made bad choices and figure out how to make good on them and move forward. That's what we're going to be talking about. What is it to be holy? And so, on page 450, now I call up the ark openers for the Torah service. And we're back on track. Thank you, and I apologize again. I'll keep apologizing. That was bad. Page 450. It shall come to pass in the fullness of time that the mountain of the Eternal's house shall be established as the highest mountain and raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Then many people shall say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Eternal, to the house of the God of Jacob. And they shall say, Teach us your ways, that we may walk in your paths. When the ark is open, please rise. There is none like you. We just did that. We get to sing. The Torah's taken out. That's your cue. I didn't miss this one this time. Beit Yaakov, Lechu v'nelcha be'or Adonai. O house of Jacob, come, let us walk by the light of God. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Close the door. So you can keep telling me we're reform. We are doing a shorter version of the Torah portion than we normally do. But we have a Kohen who's doing our bracha here, which is, that's not a very reform thing to do. I'm going to move this here for now. And wait, we've got to do this too. Forgive me. Okay, Patty's going to show you where to bless. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai
B'Shemo.
Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל כל הדת בני ישראל, ואמרת אלוהיכם קדושים, תראו קדושים תראו כי קדוש, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. איש אמור ואביו תראו, ועד שבותיי תשמרו, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אל תפנו אל האלילים ולא מעשיך.
לא תעשו.
לא תעשו לכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We jump down.
ובקוצכם את קציר עצכם לא תכלה, פאת שדך לקציר ולקר כסכם לא תלקט, וחמך לא תהלל, ופרק חמך כמוך לא תלקט. לעני ולגר תעזוב אותם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תגנבו ולא תרחשו ולא תשקרו, איש בעמיתו.
Hold that. Wait, we're not finished yet. We're just pointing. We're switching the guard here. Got it. Thank you. You got to find it there. ולא תשבו ושמי לשקר, וחיללת את שם אלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעסוק את רעך ולא תגזול, לא תלין פעולת שכיר איתך עד בוקר. לא תקלל חרש ולפני עיוור לא תיתן מכשול. ויראת מאלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעשו עוול במשפט, לא תישא פני דל ולא תדר פני גדול. בצדק תשפוט עמיתך, לא תלך רכיל בעמך, לא תעמוד על דם רעך, אני אדוני. לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך, הוכח תוכיח את עמיתך, ולא תישא עליו חטא. לא תקום ולא תיטור את בני עמך, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, אני אדוני. את חוקותיי תשמעו, what is it? There's no bifnei. Wait. Baha'amatan. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I know what happened. I kept going. I forgot to jump. I have to jump. I have to go to the next column. Whoop. I'm reading stuff that wasn't, I don't even know what that word was. More. My pile is getting.
Me too.
Oh, yeah. Where were you? No, I'm just kidding. Not you. Mipnei seva takum. It's all the way over here. That's why I didn't read it. Mipnei seva takum v'adarta pnei zaken v'yareta melohecha ani Adonai. וכי יגור איתך גר בארצכם, לא תונו אותו, כאזרח מכם יהיה לכם, הגר הגר איתכם, ואהבת לו כמוך, כי גרים הייתם בארץ מצרים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תעשו עוול במשפט, במידה, במשקל ובמשורה. מאזני צדק, אבני צדק, אפת צדק והין צדק יהיה לכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, ושמרתם את כל חוקותיי ואת כל משפטיי, ועשיתם אותם. אני אדוני.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emes, v'chayei olam ata v'sachenu, baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yoshikach, do you want to stay standing while we translate it? So now we get to translate before we put it away. Last time I forgot to translate it. We've got something else to do for the person who's supposed to translate. Come on up. You're on.
God spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the whole community of Israel and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Eternal, your God, am holy. Revere your mother and your father, each one of you, and keep my Sabbaths. I, the Eternal, am your God. Do not turn to idols, nor make for yourselves molten gods. I, the Eternal, am your God. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the corners of your field, and do not glean the fallen ears of your crop. Nor may you strip your vineyard bare, nor gather the overlooked grapes. You must leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, the Eternal, am your God. You must not steal, you must not act deceitfully, nor lie to one another. And you must not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Eternal. You must not oppress your neighbor. Do not commit robbery. The wages of a laborer should not remain with you overnight until morning. Do not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. Show reverence for your God. I am the Eternal. Do not pervert justice, neither by favoring the poor, nor by deferring to the powerful. You must judge your neighbor justly. You must not go about slandering your kin, nor may you stand by idly when your neighbor's blood is being shed. I am the Eternal. You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart. Rather, you must reason with your kin, so that you do not incur guilt on their account. But you must not seek vengeance, nor bear a grudge against your kin. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Eternal. You shall rise in the presence of the aged and show respect for the old. You shall revere your God. I am the Eternal. When strangers live with you in your land, you must not oppress them. The strangers who live with you shall be to you like citizens, and you shall love them as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, the Eternal, am your God. Do not pervert justice when you measure length, weight, or quantity. You must have honest scales, honest weights, honest dry and liquid measures. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt. You shall observe all my statutes and precepts, and do them. I am the Eternal.
Happy Healthy New Year.
Sit down now.
Yeah. Happy Healthy New Year. I now need to call up the Torah lifters and the Haftarah reader and the dressers. And Anne, would you come up and be one of my dressers, please? Thank you. My Torah lifter. You're going to get ready to stand, and we'll sing the song at the top of 456, and I'm not going to sing it before the choir starts, I promise this time. Let me get this out of your way. Open. Watch. Then you go like this. Watch. Take it up. Now, the Haftarah blesser can bless. Wait. Thank you. Yes, please.
Asher Bachar Benvi'im Tovim Ratzta V'Divrehem HaNe'emarim Be'emet Baruch Atah Adonai Haboher B'Torah U'Moshe Avdo U'Yisrael Amo U'Vinvi'eh HaEmet B'Tzedek. Have fun.
You may be seated. Okay, good.
The word of the Eternal came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim judgment upon it, for their wickedness has come before me. Jonah started out, however, to flee to
Tarshish.
From the service of the Eternal. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. He paid the fare and went aboard to sail with the others to Tarshish, away from the service of the Eternal. But the Eternal cast a mighty wind upon the sea, and such a tempest came upon the sea that the ship was in danger of breaking up. In their fright, the sailors cried out, each to his own god, and they flung the cargo overboard to make the ship lighter. Meanwhile, Jonah had gone into the hold of the vessel, where he lay down and fell asleep. The captain went over to him and cried out, "How can you be sleeping so soundly? Up, call upon your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us, and we will not perish." The men said to one another, "Let us cast lots and find out on whose account this misfortune has come upon us." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. They said to him, "Tell us, you who have brought this misfortune upon us, what is your business? Where do you come from? What is your country, and of what people are you?" "I am a Hebrew," he replied. "I worship the Eternal, the God of heaven, who made both sea and land." The men were greatly terrified, and they asked him, "What have you done?" And when the men learned that he was fleeing from the service of the Eternal, for so he told them, they said to him, "What must we do to you to make the sea calm around us?" For the sea was growing more and more stormy. He answered, "Heave me overboard, for I know that this terrible storm came upon you on my account." Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to regain the shore, but they could not, for the sea was growing more and more stormy around them. Before throwing him overboard, they cried out to the Eternal, "Please do not let us perish on account of this man. Do not compel us to kill an innocent person. For you, O Eternal, by your will, have brought this about." And they heaved Jonah overboard, and the sea stopped raging. The men were greatly in awe of the Eternal. They offered a sacrifice to the Eternal, and they made vows. The Eternal provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah remained in the fish's belly 3 days and 3 nights. Then the Eternal commanded the fish to spew Jonah out upon dry land. The word of the Eternal came to Jonah a second time. "Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim to it what I tell you." Jonah went at once to Nineveh in accordance with the command of the Eternal. Nineveh was an enormously large city, a 3 days' walk across. Jonah started out and made his way into the city, the distance of 1 day's walk, and proclaimed, 40 days more, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. The people of Nineveh believed God. They proclaimed a fact, and all alike put on sackcloth. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his robe, put on a sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he had the word cried through Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, neither man nor beast shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth and shall cry mightily to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the injustice of which they are guilty. Who knows but that God may turn back and relent, so that we do not perish? God saw what they did, how they were turning back from their evil ways, and God renounced the punishment planned for them and did not carry it out. This displeased Jonah greatly, and he was grieved. He prayed to the Eternal, saying, Eternal One, isn't this just what I said when I was still in my own country? This is why I fled beforehand to Tarshish. For I know that you are a compassionate and gracious God, endlessly patient, abounding in love, renouncing punishment. Take my life then, for I would rather die than live to see this. The Eternal One replied, Are you deeply grieved? Now Jonah had left the city and found a place east of the city. He made a booth there and sat under it in the shade until he should see what happened to the city. The Eternal God provided a gourd, which grew up over Jonah, to provide shade for his head and save him from discomfort. Jonah was very happy about the plant, but the next day at dawn, God provided a worm, which attacked the plant so that it withered. And when the sun rose, God provided a sultry east wind. The sun beat down on Jonah's head, and he became faint. He begged for death, saying, I would rather die than live. Then God said to Jonah, Are you so deeply grieved about the plant? Yes, he replied, so deeply that I want to die. Then the Eternal said, You care about the plant, yet you did not work on it, nor cultivate it. It appeared overnight and perished overnight. And should I not care about Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not yet know their right hand from their left, and many beasts as well?
Praise be the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, rock of all creation, righteous in all generations, the faithful God whose word is deed, whose every command is just and true. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for this day of atonement, that you, O Adonai our God, have given us for pardon, forgiveness, atonement, for honor and for glory. We thank and bless you. May your name be blessed forever by living and being, and your word is true forever. Blessed is the sovereign God whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses each year after year. The King of all the world, your hallow a house of Israel and the day of atonement. Let's go.
You're doing great. Thank you. Am I on? As the day goes on, it gets harder and harder to read things. I want you to know how impressed I am because Nineveh is exactly the Hebrew pronunciation if you're looking at it in the book. When I work with bar and bat mitzvah students, and you can't tell that was a mother and a daughter, and one of them was a bat mitzvah student, but when I work with bat mitzvah students, it says that I asked them to read it potentially with the Hebrew pronunciation, so that was really cool. I'm sorry, maybe that was not a nice thing to say. That was a mother and a daughter, and I'm very proud of them for both participating. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say. We continue when we are going to return the Torah to the Ark. I call up my Ark openers. We're on page 468. Please rise as the Ark is open. Shochen Adonai betoch amecha, dwell, O Eternal, among your people. Let your spirit abide within your house. Let every human being acknowledge the splendor of your kingdom and its glory. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for its fruits are better than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it. Behold, a good doctrine has been given you, my Torah. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. When the ark is closed, you may be seated. So you notice one Torah stands up straight, you can hear, and the other one stands up kind of crooked. Life is like that sometimes. People are like that sometimes. But it's still a Torah. It's still a holy thing. And it promised me it wasn't going to fall down, even if it's standing a little crooked. We continue on page 469. Holy One, your earth yields enough to satisfy the needs of every living creature, but human greed thwarts your purposes, and countless of your children go hungry and naked. Great plenty and abject poverty, unrestrained power, and utter helplessness exist side by side. We are taught that all people are your children, whatever their belief, whatever their shade of skin. You have ordained one law for rich and poor, one law for woman, child, and man. And we today, like those who came before us, are summoned to right the ancient wrongs in obedience to your holy word. Justice, justice shall you pursue, that you may live. Do good and not evil, that you may live. We often forget. Pride of possession, greed for wealth, fear of losing what we have, these blind us and we forget. We who were strangers and slaves, we who have felt the sting of injustice, the terror of exile, the torment of inquisition, we who feel them still, how can we forget? On this day of self-examination, O God, teach us to search our ways and to acknowledge that we have not been sufficiently mindful of our neighbors. We confess that in trying to keep what we have, we give too little thought to those who need us. Inspire us, O God, to recognize and to help those men and women of vision who see the needs of others and try to assist them. May we, in our daily pursuits, help to better the world through generous sympathy and personal sacrifice. We're going to read this meditation together, please. As I look into the recesses of my heart on this day of days, I'm reminded of the sacred obligations that have been placed upon me as a member of a congregation in the household of Israel. I recall how parents and teachers and friends impressed upon me the beauty of holiness. I am pledged to discharge my duties. Now, as I aspire toward maturity of mind and heart, may I not be heedless of my faith nor neglectful of my responsibilities. Grant me a firmness of purpose and a loyal disposition, that I may never shirk my task nor fail in the hour of testing. May I stand ready to assume my share of the duties of the congregation and the community of which I am a part, to uphold the hands of those who are giving of themselves to serve humanity, and increasingly to understand my own life as an opportunity for service. Grant that my daily life demonstrate the sincerity of my professions toward the poor and the needy, toward the bearers of burdens and the sad of heart, toward those who lead and those who follow, toward those of vision and insight, toward every Jew, toward every person. May I so act as to merit their approval and your blessing. As we look upon our deeds in the light of Torah, we see that affliction of the body and fasting alone cannot cleanse the soul of sin and relieve the conscience of its weight of guilt. But these are the true means of atonement. Let justice well up as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Show compassion, each one of you, to every person. Do not oppress the stranger, the orphan, the widow. Do not plan evil against your neighbor. Speak the truth to your neighbor. Render judgments that are true and that make for peace within your city. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. O God, grant that we may hearken to the solemn admonitions of this Sabbath of Sabbaths in true contrition and humility. Help us to fulfill our obligation to the needy and distressed. Incline our hearts to compassion that we may aid the poor, the homeless, the suffering. Help us to be as parents to the needy, eyes to the blind, and feet to the lame. Teach us to be generous in our support of all good works. Bless all who labor unselfishly for the welfare and happiness of their brothers and sisters. On this day of repentance, we return to you with chastened hearts. Receive us with favor, O God, our rock and our help. At this point, we are going to begin our memorial service. Some people have a tradition of not being in the room if your parents are still alive, and so you are welcome to leave. We hope that you come back, and we'll be ready for you again, please, in about half an hour when we finish this part of the service. Did everybody get their remembrance books? Does anybody need one still? Thank you to everyone who contributed to making of the book. You'll notice that each year we add more things to this. You are welcome to take it home. It is a keepsake, not only because it contains the names of your loved ones, it contains the names of, you can get a book from the usher if you want one, Aaron. It contains the names of everyone who has your memorial lights outside, the memorial plaques. It shows you how to find them in case you're ever looking for them. And it has, we added some new things now. On the very first page, we have inspirations now from, and the very inside back pages, we have inspirational readings now from the new Reform Machzor. So for example, on the inside of the front page of this, it says, the traditional Yizkor prayer asks God to remember. That's what the word means, Yizkor, he will remember. To remember the souls of our loved ones and to shelter them for eternity. But the Yizkor service on Yom Kippur has significance beyond the prayer itself. This is a moment set apart for solitary reflection, an opportunity to fulfill a sacred obligation. And it is a time to feel the physical and emotional closeness of a community, the presence of other people who know what we have been through because they've been through it too. At Yizkor, we see the sorrow in one another's eyes. We begin on page 477. Beloved God, I yearn only to be near you, though at times I seem remote. God, I cannot find the way unaided. Teach me the faithful service you would have me do. Show me your ways, guide me, lead me, release me from the prison of unknowing while I still can make amends. Do not despise my lowly state before I grow so weak, so heavy with mortality that I bend and fall, and my bones, brittle with age, become food for moth and worm. Be my help, be my help. Where my forebears went, there go I. Yes, I know it. Their resting place is mine. I know it. Like them, I am a stranger passing through this life. Since the womb of earth is my allotted portion, and since I've chased the wind from the beginning of my days, when will I come to set my house in order? The passions you yourself have made a part of me have kept me wrapped with the passing scene. And how, enslaved to passion as I've been, a prey to fierce and fiery hungers, how, I ask, could I have served you as I needed to? But now the time has come to ask, why all this ambition? Why the quest for high estate when tomorrow I must die? Why this expensive spirit when tomorrow I mourn the passing time? These days and nights combine to bring me to the end. They scatter my thought to the winds. They return my frame to the dust. What now can I say in my defense? What brave words remain to shield me from my truth? My nature has pursued me, possessed me, driven and flayed me, a doubtful friend from childhood on. What then do I really have besides your presence? Stripped of my pretensions, naked at the last, here I stand, and only your goodness can clothe and shelter me. For nothing now remains but this. Adonai, I yearn only to be near you. We continue on 479. Maker of all worlds, how insignificant we are in your sight, and how minute in your presence. You are creator of a universe so vast that the effort to conceive it overwhelms the mind. The keenest eye scans but a corner of it. The rays of light we see today began their journey long before we came to be. Counted from first creation, the earth we live on was born but yesterday, and we made our appearance on it only a moment ago. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are we that you are mindful of us? What are we mortals that you consider yourself? We are feeble. We live always on the brink of death. Scarcely ushered into life, we begin our journey to the grave. Our best laid plans are ever at risk. Our fondest hopes are buried with us. Ambition drives us onto high exertion. Indulgence makes us waste powers that we have. And evil seduces us to heap misery upon others. Success and failure, love and hatred, pleasure and pain mark our days from birth to death. We prevail only to succumb. We fall only to renew the struggle. Our days are few and full of trouble. The eye is never satisfied with seeing. Endless are the desires of the heart. We devise new schemes on the graves of 1,000 disappointed hopes. Like Moses on Har Nevo, on Mount Nebo, we behold the promised land from afar, but may not enter it. Our life at its best is an endless effort for a goal we never attain. Death finally terminates the struggle, and joy and grief, success and failure are all ended. Like children falling asleep over their toys, we relinquish our grasp on earthly possessions only when death overtakes us. Master and servant, rich and poor, strong and feeble, wise and simple, all are equal in death. The grave levels all distinctions and makes the whole world kin. We are strangers in your sight, O God. Like all who came before us, our days on earth vanish like shadows. But the speedy flight of life and the grave that looms on the horizon should not dismay us. Rather, let them teach us wisdom and prompt us to put our trust in you. For only the dust returns to the dust. The spirit which you have breathed into us returns to you, its everlasting source. Into us you have placed a portion of your divinity. Your mighty strength is our firm support. When we become servants of your law, witnesses to your truth, champions of your kingdom, then indeed do we endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. We are children of dust, O God. Give us strength and understanding that we may fill our days with good. Though our days are few, help us to make them great. Eternal God, you have been our refuge in all generations. Before the mountains were born, or earth and universe were brought forth, from eternity to eternity, you are God. For 1,000 years in your sight are but yesterday when it's past, or as a watch in the night. You sweep us away. We are like a dream at daybreak. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up, renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. The number of our years may be many or few, yet vain toil fills their span, for it is soon ended, and we fly away. So teach us to number our days that we may grow wise in heart. Let your servants understand your ways, and your children see your glory. Let the beauty of our eternal God be with us, and may our work have everlasting value.
Let the work of our hands be enduring.
We continue at the bottom of page 483. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help will come from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. God will not allow your foot to slip. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The eternal is your keeper. The eternal is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The eternal will guard you from all evil. God will protect your being. The eternal will guard you coming and going from this time forth and forever. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or youth or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always, and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? We shall not fear the summons of death. We shall remember those who have gone before us and those who will come after us. Alas for those who cannot sing but die with all their music in them. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Help us, Eternal, to fulfill the promise that is in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generation hence it will be true to say of us, the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it, we lived in it. Rabbi Tarfon says, the day is short, the task is great, the workers are sluggish, the wages are high, the master of the house is pressing. All things pass away, but you are eternal. Teach us, O God, to see that when we link ourselves to you and strive to do your will, our lives acquire eternal meaning and value, and sustain in us the hope, for we dare not ask for more, that the human spirit, created in your image, is like you, eternal. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God. Haneshama lach, the soul is yours. V'haguf polecha, the body is your work. Chusa al amal lach, have pity on your creation. In you, O God, do I seek refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Eternal, make me to ponder the end, the measure of my days. Help me to realize how fleeting is my life. You have made my days a mere span. My life's duration is nothing before you. Those who stand firm are but a breath of wind. They move about like shadows. They stir the air like a passing breeze. They heap up riches, not knowing who will inherit them. What hope have I then, God? My trust is in you. My flesh may fail, and my heart, but God is forever the strength of my heart and my life's destination. I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I abide in the shadow of the Almighty. And I say to God, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Let us call to mind the great and good, through whom God has done wonders. They were leaders of the people, helping many with understanding and insight. Wise and eloquent in their teachings, they were just and loving in their deeds. They were the glory of their times. There are some who've left a name behind them whose remembrance is as honey in the mouth. People will declare their wisdom. All will tell of their goodness. And there are some who have left no memorial, whose names have vanished as though they had never been. But the goodness of their lives has not been lost, and their work cannot be blotted out. We continue on page 488, in the middle of the page. O God of life, bless the memories we cherish on this day that, more than any other, affords us glimpses of eternity. May the sorrows we have known be softened by our sense of your infinite wisdom, your unending love, your eternal presence. May the pains of past bereavements grow more gentle. Indeed, let them be transformed into gratitude to our dear ones who have died, and tenderness to those who are still with us. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, benot deshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenachaleni, nafshi yeshovev. We read together. Eternal God is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside still waters. God restores my soul. God leads me in right paths for the sake of God's name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Giver of life, our times are in your hand. One generation comes into the world to be blessed with days of peace and safety. Another goes through the valley of the shadow, enduring the cruelties of persecution and war. Heartbreaking have been the times that have fallen to our lot, O God. We've lived through years of tyranny and destruction. We're schooled in sorrow and acquainted with grief. We've seen the just defeated, the innocent driven from their homes, and the righteous suffer a martyrdom as merciless as any ages have witnessed. At this hour of memorial, we recall with grief all your children who have perished through the cruelty of the oppressor, victims of demonic hate, the aged and the young, the learned and unlettered, all driven in multitudes along the road of pain and pitiless death. Their very presence on earth was begrudged them, for they brought your covenant of mercy and justice to the recollection of your enemies. They perished because they were a symbol of your eternal law. Their death has brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves, in far-off forests and lonely fields, and the substance of many was scattered by the winds to the earth's four corners. Yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They now are ours. We pray to you, O source of mercy, that your Torah, to which these your children bore witness in life and in death, may come to glow with a renewed light in the human soul, that remembering them, we may sanctify your name in all the world. Thus will their memory become an enduring blessing to all your children. We remember with sorrow those whom death has taken from our midst during this past year, included in your book as a Yizkor list. And our year goes from Yom Kippur to Yom Kippur. This year we recall, and these are people who are congregants or related to congregants, and I hope we didn't miss anyone's names. Leon Abramson, Clifford Bear, Muriel Bundrick, Dorothy Cohen-Chaffin, Sarah David, David Dingle, Henry Lane Dreyfus, Margaret Dunham, Lionel Eltis, Claire Goldberg, Louise Gamalski, Joan Luntz Golder, Elena Howard, Bart Lester, Vicki Marks, Gloria Meyer, Vivian Murov, Martha Oakes, Bernard Rosenfeld, Flo Selber, Adele Abramson Shaw, Jonah Smith, Janet P. Stewart, Richard H. Stewart, Barbara Sugar, and we add the name Roger Levy to our list. Does anyone have other names that need to be added to the list of people who died this past year? Say it. Dr. Leonard, he was last year. But we'll add him, he's in our memories. Dr. Leonard Goldman. Say. Shirley Broussard. Taking these dear ones into our hearts with all our beloved, we recall them now with reverence. One of the readings that I want to say before we get to the end is in the inside back cover. I'll do that after our responsive reading. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as they live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. We miss them at celebrations when there's an empty seat at the table. We miss them when the community gathers and there's an empty place beside us. We miss them today and every today, with every year that passes as our life goes on without them. Their faces, their voices, the feel of our arms around them, these are with us forever. For so it is written, love is strong as death. The love that we gave, the love we received, these endure amid the pain of loss. This page at the bottom of 491, these are your personal memories and personal prayers, the Yizkor prayer for those who you've lost. We continue silently. We continue on page 492. Please rise. El malei rachamim, shochen bamromim, hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei השכינה, im kedoshim uteorim, kezohar harakia, ma'izchrim lenishmot yikirenu, shalchu לעולמם. בעל הרחמים, יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר, Amen. O God, full of compassion, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest under the wings of your presence to our loved ones who have entered eternity. Master of mercy, let them find refuge forever in the shadow of your wings, and let their souls be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. The eternal God is their inheritance. May they rest in peace, and let us say, we read together the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabba mevarach la'alam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. You may be seated. We'll try to find the people who left for the memorial service. Thank you. And you're welcome to keep these. We're going to be using them again for the next Yizkor services, which will be on Friday the 28th. When we dance with Torahs, we'll do a Yizkor service then, but also on Monday, October 1st, at the end of Sukkot, and the actual day for the Yizkor. So I had said before that we add to our greetings, may you be written, inscribed, and sealed. In this part of the prayer book, we will now switch any time where we talked about may you be written to may you be sealed. So instead of saying kotvenu, we'll say chotmenu, for example. This is the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Open to me the gates of righteousness. I will enter them and thank God. Listen, O God, when I cry out. Be gracious and answer me. You have said, seek my presence. I seek your presence within my heart. Do not hide from me.
I will enter your gates with thanksgiving, your courts with singing.
Give yourselves to the eternal God and enter into God's holy space. Go through the doors.
This is the gateway to God. The righteous will enter it.
Adonai, our God, we turn now to you once more to cry out our longing, and the longing of all men and women, for a beginning of that wholeness we call peace. Ever and again we now admit we have turned our backs on you and on our sisters and brothers, forsaking your law, denying your truth, ignoring your will, defacing your beauty. The intelligence you have implanted within us we have applied to the arts of war. With the skill we have from you, we make engines of terror and pain. We've prayed for peace, even if we laughed at truth, for blessing, but did not care to do your will, for mercy, and have shown none to others. We have prayed for impossible things, peace without justice, forgiveness without restitution, love without sacrifice. But you, our Maker, abound in grace. So now again we turn to you, to attach ourselves to your purpose, to set ourselves on the paths that lead to your kingdom of peace and right, freedom and joy for Israel and all the world.
Again, as the shadows fall, we ask forgiveness, and again we praise you, God, the source of peace.
We continue on page 500. Forgive your neighbors the wrongs they have done you, and when you pray, your sins will be forgiven. If I nurse anger against another, can I ask pardon of the eternal God? Showing no pity for one like myself, can I plead for my own sins? If I, a creature of flesh, nourish resentment, who will forgive me my sins? Consider that life is short, and cease to hate. Remember mortality and death, and live by the commandments. Let not the fierce sun dry one tear of pain before you yourself have wiped it from the sufferer's eye. But let each burning human teardrop onto your heart and there remain, nor ever brush it off until the pain that caused it is removed. For transgressions against God,
the Day of Atonement atones. But for transgressions of one human being against another, the Day of Atonement does not atone until they have made peace with one another.
Please rise. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה חירותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, וימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר וישומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמך דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דהמירן בעלמה, ומרו Amen. Transliteration is 538. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. Source of all being, we turn to you, as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens. They felt you in their hearts. They sought you in their lives. Now their quest is ours. Help us, O God, to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer to the realization, the great hope inherited from ages past, for a world transformed by liberty and justice
and peace.
Melech Ozer u'Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Eternal God, the power of your Spirit pervades all creation. When we open our hearts to you, we are filled with your strength, the strength to bear our afflictions, the strength to refuse them victory, the strength to overcome them. And when our will is renewed, to lift up the fallen, to set free the captive, to heal the sick, to bring light to all who dwell in darkness. Add your strength to ours, O God, so that when death casts its shadow, we shall yet be able to say, Source of blessing, you are with us in death as in life. Shema na, hear now, Salach na, forgive now. As the day turns to night, we praise you, the one awesome in greatness and mystery. We sanctify your name on earth, even as all things to the ends of time and space proclaim your holiness. And in the words of the prophet we say, Holy, holy, holy is the eternal God of hosts. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz kivod. Baruch Kivod Adonai, sorry, over here. Source of, I was looking at the light going, it's getting darker. Source of our strength, sovereign God, how majestic is your presence in all the earth. Blessed is the glory of God in heaven and earth. Now. Baruch Kivod Adonai min kol mo. You alone are our God and our Creator. You are our ruler and our helper. And in your mercy, you reveal yourself in the sight of all the living. Ani Adonai Elohechem. The eternal God shall reign forever. Your God, O Zion, from generation to generation. Hallelujah. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Tzion, le'dor vador. Hallelujah. Kadosh you are, holy, awesome is your name. There is no God but you. The eternal God of hosts is exalted by justice. The holy God is sanctified by righteousness. Blessed is the Eternal who rules in holiness. Our God and God of all generations, pardon our sins on this day of atonement. Sweep away our transgressions and misdeeds, that they may vanish from your sight. Blessed is the Eternal, the ruler whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses year after year. Ruler of the world, you hallow the house of Israel in the day of atonement. Eternal God, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. For the glory of life, O God, and for its wonder, we give you thanks. Your goodness, your compassion, we give thanks to you forever. Our God, the guide of humanity, let your Spirit rule this nation and its citizens, that their deeds may be prompted by a love of justice and right, and bear fruit in goodness and peace. Bless our people with love of righteousness. Teach us to work for the welfare of all, to diminish the evils that beset us, and to enlarge our nation's virtues.
Bless our people with civic courage.
Bless our striving to make real the dream of your kingdom, when we shall put an end to the suffering we now inflict upon each other.
Bless our people with a vision of your kingdom on earth.
For you have endowed us with noble powers. Help us to use them wisely and with compassion.
Bless our people with a wise and feeling heart.
You've given us freedom to choose between good and evil, life and death. May we choose life and good, that our children may inherit from us the blessings of dignity and freedom, prosperity and peace. We continue on pages 508 and 509. The name of the service is called Ne'ilah. It's about locking a gate, and we talk in this about how the gate locks. So just like we did with the other prayer, the first three words in Hebrew are El Nora Alilah, and we'll say of that. I will say that before each of the parts that I will read in our responsive reading, but you are welcome to join me in El Nora Alilah. El Nora Alilah, God of awesome deeds, God of awesome deeds, grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alilah, we who are few in number look up to you. With trembling we praise you as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alilah, to you we pour out our souls. Blot out our sins, our dishonest ways. Grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alilah, be our refuge and shield us from danger. assure us joy and honor as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alila, be gracious to us, compassionate. Let your judgment fall on tyrants and those who make war as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alila, remember the merits of our mothers and fathers. Renew in us their spirit of faith as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
El Nora Alila, proclaim a year of favor. Return the remnant of your flock to honor and glory as the gates begin to close.
God of awesome deeds, O God of awesome deeds, grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai, the everlasting God. Adonai will reign forever. Before the earth and sky were formed, Adonai was king. When heaven's lights had yet to shine, Adonai did reign. Though like a garment earth decay and heaven all as smoke dissolve, Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai will reign forever. Before the earth's expanse was spread, Adonai was our sovereign. And when its creatures all were formed, Adonai did reign. Though earth from out its orbit reel and tremble to its lowest depths, Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai will reign forever. Please rise. I think it's me and you for this one. Am I on the wrong side? You to this side. We read responsively. Avinu Malkeinu patach sharei shamayim litfilatenu.
Our Father, our King, let the gates of heaven be open to our plea.
Avinu Malkeinu na'al tashivenu rekam milfanecha.
Our Father, our King, do not turn us away empty-handed from your presence.
Avinu Malkeinu salach u'machal lechol avonotenu.
Our Father, our King, forgive and pardon all our misdeeds.
Avinu Malkeinu zechor ki afar anachnu.
Our Father, our King, remember that we are dust.
Avinu Malkeinu chamol alenu va'al ol alenu v'tapenu.
Our Father, our King, have compassion on us and on our children.
Avinu Malkeinu chadesh alenu shana tova.
Our Father, our King, let the new year be a good year for us.
Avinu Malkeinu chotmenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Our Father, our King, seal us for blessing in the book of life.
Avinu Malkeinu harem keren Yisrael amecha.
Our Father, our King, give strength to your people Israel.
Avinu Malkeinu kalei kol tsar u'mashtin me'alenu.
Our Father, our King, make an end to all oppression.
Avinu Malkeinu hatzmach lanu yeshua b'karov.
Our Father, our King, hasten the time of our redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu chonenu v'anenu ke'ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Our Father, our King, be gracious and answer us, even when we have little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, ki banu b'asim, aseh imanu, tzedakah
is closed, you may be seated. By Torahs. Vidui. You've heard about the Vidui section. This is the Vidui section. Confession of sins. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, Adonai, our God and God of all ages, we're perfect and we haven't sinned. Rather, do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, we have transgressed. We've committed offenses together, we confess. You want me to sing it? I skipped my own Chikriyo again.
You and I?
Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Hevinu, Virshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker. Ya'atznu Kizavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Niatznu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Tsaranu, Kishinu Oref. Die, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu, die, 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 die. We all have committed offenses. Together, we confess these human sins. The sins of arrogance, bigotry, and cynicism, of deceit and egotism, flattery and greed, injustice and jealousy. Some of us have kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded. Others were obstinate or possessive, quarrelsome, rancorous, or selfish. There was violence, weakness of will, xenophobia. We yielded to temptation and showed zeal for bad causes. We've turned aside from your commandments and from your precepts, and it has not availed us. You are just, whatever befalls us. You call us to righteousness, but we bring evil upon ourselves. What shall we say before you, who dwell on high? What shall we plead before you, enthroned beyond the stars? Are not all things known to you? As in your love you have been patient with this people from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day, so in your great love may you forgive your people now. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. And Adonai said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. You hold out your hand to those who have rebelled against you. Your right hand is stretched out to receive those who turn back to you. Adonai, our God, you've taught us to confess all our faults before you, so that we may turn away from violence and oppression. In accordance with your gracious promise, accept our repentance, which we offer to you in all sincerity. We know that we end in dust, but your compassion has no end. For what are we? What is our life? What our faithfulness? What is our goodness? And what our vaunted strength? What can we say in your presence, O Adonai, our God, and God of all ages? Are not all the conquerors as nothing before you, and those of renown as though they had not been, the learned as if they had no knowledge, and the wise as if without understanding? Many of our works are in vain, and our days pass away like a shadow. Since all our achievements are as insubstantial as the mist, how can we look upon ourselves as higher than the beasts? Yet from the beginning you set us apart to stand erect before you. And in your love, eternal our God, you've given us this day of atonement, that our sins may cease and be forgiven, and that turning away from violence and oppression, we may turn back to you and do your will with a perfect heart. In your great mercy, have compassion upon us. For you do not desire the world's destruction. It has been said, seek the eternal while there is yet time. Cry out while our God is near. Let the wicked forsake their ways, those bent on evil their thoughts. Let them return to Adonai, who will show them mercy, to our God, who will graciously pardon. You are a God of forgiveness, gracious and merciful, endlessly patient, loving and true. You ask evildoers to return to you, and don't seek their death. For it has been said, declare to them, as I live, says the eternal God, it is not the death of the wicked I seek, but that they turn from their ways and live. Turn back from your evil ways. For why should you choose to die, O house of Israel? It is your way, O God, to be patient with us, evil and good, that is your greatness. Forgive us, not because of our merit, but that your purpose may prevail. Humbled, we stand before you, knowing how slight is our worth. Now send forth your hidden light and open to your servants the gates of help. O great God,
Lord,
and your justice and perfect love, open for us the wisdom's gates. Open for us the gates of righteousness, and we shall enter to praise Adonai. Open the gates, open them wide.
We knock at your gates, O gracious one. Do not turn us away empty-handed.
Open the gates, God. Open the gates for us and for all Israel.
Open the gates of blessing for us all.
The gates of atonement, benevolence, and compassion.
The gates of dignity, excellence, and faith.
Generosity and hope, insight and joy.
Kindness and love, melody and nobility.
Openness, purity, and quietude.
Renewal, simplicity, and truth.
The gates of understanding and virtue.
The gates of wonder and zest.
Open the gates, open them wide.
Open the gates, Lord. Show us the way to enter.
Restore us, O God, show us again the light of your presence, that we may find deliverance. Open the gates for us, even now, when the gates are closing, and the day begins to fade. The day is fading, the sun is setting. Let us enter your gates. The day is fading, the sun is setting. The silence and peace of night descend upon the earth. Give rest now, O author of peace, to our troubled hearts. Lift up the spirit oppressed by guilt. Turn, O loved one, to your children. Turn to every broken heart and every burdened soul. Let us at this hour be sure of your forgiveness. From your house, O God, we are about to return to our homes. Enter them with us, that they may become your sanctuaries, dwelling places of your spirit. Then will our home stand firm against the storms of life, to be a shelter for all that is good and a refuge from evil. And still another dwelling place have you destined for us, O source of life, an eternal home, to which we shall go when our brief day on earth has passed. Open for us then the gates of everlasting peace, and keep alive in those who follow us the truths, the vision, and the hopes we have struggled to make real. This twilight hour reminds us also of the day when, if we are faithful to our mission, your light will rise over all the world, and Israel's spiritual descendants will be as numerous as the stars of heaven. Teach our people to recognize the meaning of our history and the challenge of our destiny, to proclaim to all your children the truth of Israel's message, one humanity on earth, even as there is one God in heaven. You alone know when this great hope shall be fulfilled, but the day will surely come, even as none of your words returns fruitless without having accomplished your purpose. Then joy will thrill all hearts, and from one end of the earth to the other will ring the exultant cry, Hear, O Israel, hear all creation. Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Your house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. All nations shall flock to it and exclaim in triumphant song, Su'u sharim rashechem, lift up your heads, O gates. Lift yourselves up, O ancient doors. Let the King of glory enter. Who is the King of glory? Adonai, God of hosts. He is the King of glory. Please rise. Dear God, whither can I go from your spirit? Whither can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my home in the lowest depths, behold, you are there. If I take up the wings of the morning and dwell on the ocean's farthest shore, even there your hand will lead me, your right hand will hold me. And if I say, surely the darkness will conceal me, night will hide me from view, even the darkness is not too dark for you, the dark is clear as the day. When I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, and when I gaze at the measureless sea of space and the endless hosts of stars that sail in it, and when I set out to understand this marvel and its tremendous maker, then your greatness and power overwhelm me. Your infinite majesty makes me tremble with awe. For the worlds beyond count are but a breath of your spirit, the lucent suns only beams of your light. What are we, that you have given us eyes to see something of your truth? What am I, that you have given me thought to fathom something of your purpose? Yet upon the earth, with all its abundance and beauty, forests dancing with life, mountains rising like prayers, seas roaring their creative hymn, with all the mysteries of the boundless depths and the immeasurable heights, you've chosen us to proclaim your grandeur and to voice the longing of all being for you, O sovereign ruler of the universe and the fountain of life. In man and woman, children of dust and offspring of heaven, you've blended two worlds, perishable earth and immortal soul. Finite matter locked into time and space, and infinite spirit which endures through all eternity. You have given us dominion over the works of your hands and placed all things under our care. You've commanded us to live at peace with all living creatures and to walk softly in their presence. But there is that in us which darkens the soul. Called to a life of righteousness, we rebel. Arrogance possesses us. The passions that rage within us drown the voice of conscience. Good and evil, virtue and vice, love and hate contend for the mastery of our lives. Again and again, we complain of the struggle, forgetting that the power to choose is the glory and greatness of our being. When we succumb, life loses its beauty, and within us sounds the voice of judgment. Where are you? How have you fallen, O children of the Most High? But sure as is your judgment, God, sure still is your mercy. It is not the death of sinners you demand, only that they return to you, return to life. The gates of your forgiveness are open wide, and all who seek to enter may be at one with you. Aware of our weakness, eternal God, we have come before you, longing for your presence, your light, your peace. We've reflected with anguish on a life misused and filled with regrets, on opportunities neglected, and promises unfulfilled. We've struggled to reach you, to turn back to you and to your law. Accept, then, our penitent spirits. Be with us as our hope for the future. Now, as the evening falls, light dawns within us. Hope and trust revive. The shadow that darkened our spirit is vanished, and through the passing cloud there breaks, with the last rays of the setting sun, the radiance of your forgiving peace. We are restored, renewed by your love. How can we find words to thank you for your goodness? And how can words alone be fitting thanks? And so we make this pledge. We will thank you with our lives. We will offer to you the work of our hands. Fill then our heart, our life, our work with a constant love for you. God of the universe, creator of all life, God of all being, then shall our souls rejoice and sing. You have turned my grief into dancing, released me from my anguish, and surrounded me with goodness. Adonai, my God, I shall give thanks to you forever. Responsively, Yitgadal v'yitkadash meraba, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. We sanctify your name on earth as we pray for the coming of your kingdom and our own day, our own lives, and the life of all Israel. Yeheh shemer rabba mevarach la'alam u'almei almaya. Let your great name be blessed forever and ever. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha, barichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Let your name be exalted and honored, though you are beyond all the praises we can utter, all the songs we can ever sing. Titkabel tzlot tahon uva'otahon, D'chol Yisrael kodam avuhon divishmaya v'imru. Amen. O Maker of heaven and earth, divine parent of all being, accept the prayers and supplications of your people Israel. Yeheh shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imiru. Amen. For us, for all Israel, for all men and women, may the blessing of peace and the promise of life come true. Oseh shalom b'mramav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. As you make peace on high, so let peace descend on us, on all Israel, and all the world. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai.
Blessed is God's glorious kingdom forever and ever. Next line in English one time, and they are going to sing it for us 6 times, and that will be the 7. I forgot you didn't have any of the cues. The Eternal One is God. In the ark. No, you could blow it there. Yeah, you better stand. Ready. Tekiah Gedolah. Close the doors. Bye, Doris. And now at the close of the day's service, we implore you, Adonai our God, let the year upon which we have entered be for us, for Israel, and for all the world, a year of blessing and prosperity. Amen. A year of salvation and comfort. Amen. A year of peace and contentment, of joy and of spiritual welfare. Amen. A year of virtue and of reverence of God. Amen. A year that finds the hearts of parents united with the hearts of the children. Amen. A year of your pardon and favor. Amen. Adonai, yishmor tzetcha uvoecha me'ata ve'ad olam. May Adonai bless your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever.